Hey, Shane, that trip out you was talking about, is that where they said they do both?
I think so, yeah. Right first round.
You don't want to sit next to me?
How you doing?
What?
Good, how are you?
All right, so if I have to come back there and...
Probably not on, but the battery's drained.
Well, that's the thing, the thing for the day.
The battery's drained. What were the ones that were sitting up there? Award this to the depository to. I don't think that should be a roll call.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge and the invocation.
Yes, sir, I will. Let us pray. Lord God in heaven above, as the city of Ocean Springs recovers from Hurricane Zeta, our thoughts and our prayers are out to all who are helping us recover, especially our City Hall administration, our rec department, our public works, our police and fire, and the public and private contractors that are here working. Lord, be with them, guide them, protect them as they go about their duties. And Father, we especially have in our prayers the people who were injured and the people who are deceased. May you be with them and place your healing hand upon them. For all these things we ask in your holy name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, is there a motion to accept the agenda?
Second.
And addendum.
And addendum. Motion by Mr. Aldermen, seconded by Mr. Gill. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, first off, we have a proclamation. I'd like to ask Lieutenant Spearknock to come to the front, please. And this is a proclamation commending Lieutenant Bruce Spearknock II for his 21 years of service to the city of Ocean Springs and for his continued success upon his retirement from city services. Whereas the city of Ocean Springs is proud to recognize the men and women who display immense bravery and honor by risking their lives every day to serve and protect the citizens of our local communities. And whereas after an honorable discharge from the 81st Security Police Squadron at Keesler Air Force Base, Lieutenant Spearknock served the community with pride and dedication for 21 years and will officially retire on Thursday, December 31st, 2020. And whereas Lieutenant Spearknock began his career with the Ocean Springs Police Department in October 1999 as a patrolman, in 2003 he was named Officer of the Year, and later that year he was promoted to detective and assigned to the Criminal Investigation Division. In 2008, Bruce was promoted to lieutenant and completed the Northwestern Police Staff and Command School in Nashville, Tennessee. For 7 years, Bruce held the position of Lieutenant of Detectives, and in 2019, he became the Training and Accreditation Manager. Whereas Bruce is married to Kimberly Spearnock, and they have 3 sons, he and his family are highly active with the Centerpoint Church on Highway 57. And whereas the City of Ocean Springs thanks Lieutenant Spearnock for his many years of outstanding service with the Ocean Springs Police Department and extends to him sincere best wishes for continued success in all of his future endeavors. Now therefore I, Shay Dobson, Mayor of the City of Ocean Springs, do proudly present this proclamation and key to the city in recognizing Lieutenant Spearnock for his loyal commitment of 21 years of service with the Ocean Springs Police Department. And the key to the city, we'll need to get some locks changed to fit this, but
You know, after 21 years, I've gone through 10 badge numbers, 5 chiefs, and 10 different job titles. I've really enjoyed it. I've had a good time, and it'll be sad to go, but it's going to be a new future. Thank you.
Hey, Bruce, I think that key only unlocks sales at the station. Thank you.
Nice to meet you guys.
Thank you so much for coming.
Girls.
all right, we have, first up is agenda public comments. So this period is allotted for comment regarding specific items on the agenda, both the regular agenda and the addendum. If anybody has any comments regarding any items on the agenda, please come to the podium. Seeing none, we'll move to old business. We'll go ahead and go to discuss request by Carl Kennedy to tap city's water sewer line for new residential construction at 321 Jackson Avenue. Alan, did we get a for sure price on this, or Nicole, did you have a price on that? I've been so busy with everything this week that I haven't really.
It was approximately $8,800. We did have, I don't have it in front of me right now, but I know it is approximately $8,800.
So we heard we got the Attorney General opinion that came back, basically stating what we already knew. So if anybody would like to discuss.
Well, we discussed this, and the city, anybody that's ever done a lot split or had to have service from a lot split has paid for the service. And, looking at it, the price that we have, or for the estimate to do it, really exceeds the demand. Consider the tap, would only serve that one property owner. So with that being said, I don't know if anybody else has any discussion about it.
The only thing I agree, Ricky, is that if we started something like this, we would almost have to go backwards and reimburse people for paying tap fees, and that's just,
Well, the unfortunate thing when it comes to lot splits and stuff like this is that people do lot splits, and and they make money off of doing that, and then they can't expect the city to pick up the tab to put taps for water and sewer because they decided to split the lots to make their investment better.
Think about it, to prove that.
No,
So this isn't just for the tap, this is for getting it close enough for them to tap it. Correct.
right.
just bring
Right.
service to the property.
Right,
to the property.
Which, they had a lot of discussion about it because of where it was in the street, but the dig is so deep that whether it's on the side of the road or not is gonna affect getting into the road, so that's why the price is what it is. So, you know, and like I said, you know, we just did that one on Iberville, what, 2 years ago, a year ago, where.
It was close to $10,000.
Yeah, I mean, you know, so.
The residents already been said.
And that's what the city's always done, to my knowledge, is everybody's always paid, so.
I can tell you, I had to do the same thing. When I was getting ready to drill my hole, my neighbor was about to basically cut me off from the sewer tap. I had to run up here and pay for a tap.
Well, that's one thing that nobody looks at when you buy a line, how far the water line is from behind.
Yeah, and, you know, I feel for him. I mean, it's unfortunate, you know, it's not good as far as, you know, on his part, as far as it's expensive and it's gonna cost more for him to develop his property, but, you know, despite his charges of corruption and conspiracies, you know, that's unfortunately what it is.
So that's something you always figure into construction fees is taps. I mean, that's just part of it. So we always work that into a construction loan. That's what I did.
Right.
So,
We have talked about, you know, Ricky brought up a meeting or so ago, and Carolyn and I have had minor discussions so far about looking into when lot splits come up on, you know, putting this as something that the person requesting the lot split has to pay for. So that's still something that we have to look at, but, but we are in a buyer beware state, so.
But this is also a case-by-case basis, because
Yes.
sometimes during a lot split, the lot that's split that does not have service can tie in right there on that same side of the street where there's already a tap.
Exactly.
But this is not the case here.
Right.
so do we need to, there's really no motion that we
There
need to
is.
make, really?
I think Ricky had that.
Okay.
I do.
Oh, okay, that's just discussion.
All right, I have a motion to deny Carl Kennedy's request for the city to pay for the cost of implementing a private service line and our tap into city water sewer main for a proposed single-family residence located at 321 Jackson Avenue, as is not economically feasible. It is not economically feasible because the cost of the extension and maintenance of the requested private service line, which is estimated to be approximately $8,800, far exceeds the demand considering the tap would only serve one property, one owner.
Second.
All right, motion Mr. Hoffman, second Mr. Blackman. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, item B, discussion of resolution directing the sale and award of a taxable negotiable note series 2020 for the principal amount of $360,000. I believe y'all opened this earlier today, is that right?
I believe this is the document in front of you.
No, this is for the,
Fire
this is for the fire truck.
Yeah, that's correct.
Jamie from Government Consulting's here, Troy Johnston, and Sam Coughlin. They were handling this correction for us. The last fire truck was for 10, the last loan on this same fire truck was for 10 years, and it was 4.11. And so now we're gonna be in a 5-year for 1.73.
Well, Patty took all my thunder, so,
Sorry.
there you go. We're at, we opened at 6 bids actually, which I was, rather surprised on. That's a good sign. Lowest bid came in at 1.73. It is our recommendation that you accept it from the community bank. Do you have any questions that you might have?
I think it's a no-brainer, man. I appreciate you guys.
It's a super rate, super rate.
It is, that's tremendous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna get you guys to negotiate my next vehicle purchase.
Oh,
Yeah.
look, so I'm Troy Johnson, I'm a Butler Snow, I work for Sam. So you have a resolution before you to award the sale to Community Bank, I assume that's in the
It
package.
is.
And there are blanks in there, guys, because of course we don't know who won the bid till then. So that resolution actually approves the award to Community Bank. We've filled in the blanks, y'all may not have seen it yet, but we've done that. And if you would, that's what we're looking for, is to approve that resolution and we'll move forward.
So, Nicole, so just a motion to adopt, accept the resolution?
Yeah, you need to adopt the resolution. So read out B, but then say that you're awarding it to Community Bank.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution directing the sale and award of a taxable negotiable note, Series 2020, for the principal amount of $360,000, and that would go to Community Bank at 1.73%.
Second.
All right, motion by Mr. Blackman, second by Mr. Gill. Any further discussion?
It's a roll call.
Oh,
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
all right, motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank y'all so
Thank
much.
you.
Guys,
Yeah.
I appreciate y'all driving all the way down.
Oh, that's no problem.
Just a question on here, it's 368, on here 360. What,
360, which is it? I said 360.
It's 368.
Okay,
368?
well, I amend my motion to say 368,000.
So you redo that roll call? All right,
Thank
adopt.
you, guys.
Thank y'all so
Thank
much.
you, guys.
All right, item C, adopt ordinance, amendment to the Code of Ordinance to revise Chapter 14, Article 1, Section 14-10, regarding speed limit on various streets.
Yeah, this was what we brought up last meeting.
Last meeting.
Yeah, and reducing the, what we considered mislabeling streets at 30 miles an hour down to 25.
Looks good to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just exactly what y'all asked for. I took and went and redlined all the streets that were in the ordinance aside from the government street portion
right.
that we discussed. And then again, once I redline and take those out, they automatically defer to the 25 miles per hour.
All right. Well, I'll make the motion to adopt the ordinance, an amendment to the Code of Ordinances to revise Chapter 14, Article 1, Section 14-10A3, regarding speed limit on various streets, included in Exhibit 5C.
Second.
All right, motion by Mr. Blackman, second by Mr. Cox. Any further discussion?
How long a time do we have before we have to change those signs? Is that something
I
that
don't know if
goes,
there's a deadline.
30
days.
days.
is that something that goes into effect immediately, or is it 30
Well, it's
days?
30 days since
From
we're
the
not
time it's
full
adopted.
board.
Joey's on
Yeah,
there.
the full board isn't here, so it'll be 30 days.
Okay.
Just try your best.
Oh, we give them changes, y'all. We have our signs to make sure.
You got
And
30
remember,
days.
again, this is an ordinance, so
Roll
it's a
call.
roll call, so
All
too.
right, we need a roll call.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
I did one thing about this, I can't remember, was Government Street on that from Bechtel towards Paps Road?
No,
Because there's been a lot of golf carts
no.
between Bechtel and Paps Road. And I
The
think
last-
people are misunderstanding.
Yes, they are. I have a friend that got a ticket because I even misunderstood it. Paps Road from Paps to Ocean Springs Road, just
So let me ask you this, Alan, do you think Tom could just put up one of your signs that say no golf carts past this, just on that particular part for right now?
Right there.
back to.
Say from Hunter to Bechtel?
From Bechtel to
Ocean
Ocean
Road.
Springs Road, there's no golf.
Hunter's the road right before.
Right, but if you could just put that one right there, because I think a lot of people come from the downtown thinking they can keep going forward, and it's,
Yep.
all right,
It's right
thanks.
there.
We've discussed going ahead and extending it that far, but we just have to pull the trigger.
It makes me. All right, we'll go to item D, adopt ordinance, an amendment to Code of Ordinance to revise Chapter 14, Article 5, Section 14-127 regarding registration requirements for golf carts and low-speed vehicles.
This is same thing, similarly, we discussed at the last meeting, and did we go up on the fee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
So
go up
the-
on the fee?
Right, this is the $20 for, the annual renewals and, also the use of other, cities' permits reciprocating into Ocean Springs. I know that it was brought up during the last meeting too on when this would go into effect. I don't know if y'all thought about it more or discussed it more, but, I know that I've talked to the clerk's office a little bit, and, it may be easiest to start January 1st on the renewals and kind of give everyone the heads up, and then maybe do a 2-week period at the beginning of each year for everyone to come in to do the renewals. Just, it makes it easier on them. That's just what I've heard from
Yeah, that makes sense.
their office.
Does that need to be in the motion?
Not necessarily, but it would help,
Okay.
just to give the public notice through the the minutes that it will be effective January 1st, 2021.
All right, so a motion to adopt ordinance, an amendment to Code of Ordinances to revise Chapter 14, Article 5, Section 14-127 regarding registration requirements for golf carts and low-speed vehicles as included in Exhibit 5D. And that will go into effect January 1st, with a 2-week period to complete the registrations.
Second.
All right, motion by Mr. Blackman, second by Mr. Gill. We need a roll call.
Aye.
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 All right, motion passes.
I will tell you that Marissa told me the other day you're up to 478.
Wow.
Yeah.
All of them was trying to get on these speakers.
All right, authorize award of bid for city depository. We got the backup information. It should be in your addendum. So, Patty, y'all
Yeah.
did a good job with this.
Yes. As you see, nothing's paying really a lot right now, especially not where we were. After doing some research, and I talked to Matt Perez over at the First, so where my suggestion is that we not go with a fix because it's so low right now, we would be locking ourselves in for 2 years. My suggestion is that we go with the First, and I did talk to Matt, and he said it would be federal fund rate plus 0.10%, 0.10. There is nothing in the federal fund rate today. The banks have so much money right now, they're not really interested. But if the federal fund rate was 0.05, we would get 0.15. They were the only one that really kind of had that, plus they have no fees. Normally, we do a fixed amount, but I would just hate to lock us into 0.12% for 2
And
years.
it could go up
Yeah.
very well, and it probably will.
Yeah, I did do some research too, and they did send me their annual report. They have been around since 1995. I don't think they've been in Ocean Springs as long, but they are over by Winn-Dixie. But he did tell me that they have some property over by the Mary C, and they do intend to build a branch.
Yeah, that's been through,
It's had all the approvals, they just slowed down during
Right.
Right.
everything, yeah.
Yeah. And so at this point, I think they would probably be our best choice.
You know,
And
we're going to make no.
I'm not sure. Yes, sir?
Well, you just need a motion, huh?
Yes, sir. I think Nicole was asking me to award the city depository for 2 years to the First. I don't know what.
Okay, man, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the award of bid of city depository to the First ANBA Bank for 2 years.
All right, motion by Mr. Gill, second by Mr. Blackman. Any further discussion?
Just one thing, Patty, how many deposits do we make a day? A week, I mean?
10 typically.
Is it possible that we can deposit in the mornings instead of the afternoon?
Certain departments don't bring their deposits to City Hall until, sometimes we don't get them until lunch.
Can we change that to where they bring them in earlier?
We could request them to, like, you know, but the PD brings the court and theirs, so if Shane's real busy, he might not come down here till 11 or 12, so they might not get worked up till 1:30 or 2.
I think we can definitely shoot towards it, but I'm hesitant.
Or
to
at least
mandate it.
earlier in the day?
Yeah.
I think we can work towards it, but based on just stuff that happens, I hate to put a mandate on it, you know?
Well, they were used to it next door, you know, so we didn't have the logistics, but now we logistically are more challenged, but we could try to have a rule that says, you know, that the deposit needs to be there by, you need to go to the bank by 2 o'clock every day or something. If you guys would like to do that. We usually do the bank at 10:15. I think with this one, I'd like to see us, post office, it would be nice since they're up by Winn-Dixie, if we can make sure we do them at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's 10:40.
Well, is it possible, and is it possible to keep the deposits in the safe overnight and take them the next morning at the same time?
We can, the auditors will want us to get them, they really want them to go the next day, but that really shouldn't be an issue. I didn't realize they were doing them that day.
Because they get them, Lenny actually comes in the day before.
So they're holding them a day.
Mhm.
You just gotta leave that cash all day, all night.
It's the checks that become a problem because, you know, if you don't get the checks run through, the public will start, because public watches all that, you know, and we already have some issues with the mail these days on getting the mail in. The biggest week is the week that water gets all of its checks. The rest of the time,
Let's just work towards an earlier time if possible. Like I said, a one trip out that way would be ideal, if you could do 10:30.
What is the issue with them being later? What's the concern?
Well, I went and sat down and talked to Hancock Bank because I was wondering what was going on with the deposits and stuff, and they said that it's hard when they get 800 checks late in the afternoon, because they have to, once they brought it into the bank, they have to reconcile that night. They can't put them in their vault. They have to run them.
oh, is that right? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
And I didn't know they had to run them that day. That's interesting.
Unless it's dropped in their night depository after 2 o'clock, I think, then they can sit in there, but if it's handed to a clerk, they have to.
For the last several months, year, I've been doing the bulk of the checks. It's only been in the last few weeks that we've been sending them the checks.
Right.
Um,
Well, I'm not pointing fingers at
No, I mean, I'm just saying that they weren't spending any time on the checks because I was doing the checks. We were only bringing cash to them for months.
Yeah, we were trying to run the checks
So
ourselves.
we're still coding them?
Well, I don't know about now, because what I had found was that, to be truthful with you, we were spending 2 hours, sometimes 2.5, to do that, and it wasn't any harder. It's just as easy from what Kelly and Jennifer have told me, for when the bank runs, if the bank runs them, they don't go back and rerun them, they just short us. That they can send us the stuff and we can try to find it. And I felt like time-wise, especially since I've cut a staff member, I was trying to make it where the staff could work more, because it keeps Vicki tied up back there, and I can't really get her trained with the other staff in
So
front.
you're saying if the bank can't get the scan on the coder, they just short us?
Uh-huh.
But I mean,
That's why one reason we started
But-
scanning them ourselves.
Yeah,
but our
because when I do it,
deposit
I
slip
find
that we
it
turn
every
in has a
time.
deposit amount on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so how can they just short, they send you a debit in the mail saying that's, oh, okay.
Yeah, and then we have to ask for paperwork, and Kelly and Jennifer will find it, and then they'll give us our money, but we have to do the research. They don't do the research.
Okay.
That's one reason we started with Vicki doing it, but it's so labor intensive, it just didn't seem to be the best use of her time, I guess. But the bank does want us to do them. You're correct, Hancock. That's when we started finding out about the fees, that if Vicki did it, they wanted to charge us 3 cents a check. But if Vicki didn't do it, they wanted to charge us 9 cents for every check that ran through.
Well, now we have no fees, so.
Yeah. So, we can, we'll try to work this
I mean,
out.
the first might operate different. They might, if you get the deposit late in the daytime, they might not have to reconcile or code them that night. I don't know, that's gonna take,
Yeah,
Did it
I
right
found
out
it,
to
yeah.
lunch, didn't have enough time to go through it.
Well, I find that interesting, because had they told us that, we would have tried to do it there. We just didn't know that. You telling us that part's brand new to us. We had no idea that they were having to run
We
on
could have
that
even
day.
do it separately. We could have done water, which is the ones with the 800 checks.
Right.
And again, the few times that we've done it recently, because the only time that they brought big checks like that is if I'm not in the office, or
Right.
until recently when we found out that we were trying to utilize my time better.
When you deposit it late in the evening, that means you don't have any cash that night in the city hall, when you check.
Well, we put the cash in the vault at night, John. We keep the drawers out $100 each or 200. We do keep cash here because the drawer starts out that way.
Just out of curiosity, how many people have moved over to paying online? A bunch, or
You would be
not
surprised how
really?
many people still like to come in and pay their water bill. It's just part of their day. It's almost like going to the mailbox. When City Hall was closed, I can't tell you how many people told me that they missed coming in here. So for the elderly, they like to come in and visit with the girls and all. Yeah, it's a community thing.
Right.
Part of the community.
Small town charm.
That's
Well,
right.
Gil does that, doesn't
Dude, automatic, baby. I
Alright,
ain't that old.
alright, we need to call, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Roll call.
Oh, roll call, I'm sorry, Mr. Gill?
Aye.
Aye.
it?
Alright, new business. business, adopt ordinance to document previously approved request to rezone property in July 92 at 520 and 521 Harrison Circle. Carolyn, this appears to be some housekeeping.
Yeah, it's housekeeping back from 92.
Right.
So apparently during the development of the Beckel Place subdivision, they did, prior to final plat, they did rezone a portion of it. However, and the board approved it, it was all in the minutes, they just did not do the required ordinance that allows us to change our map. So fast forward to today, when you've got somebody trying to finance the property, and the bank said no because it's on commercial. So this is just to, because we could find no evidence, no documentation that an ordinance was ever presented or passed, but it was approved. This is the ordinance that finalizes the action taken in 92 to rezone that portion. It's housekeeping that will allow us to change our map.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance to document previously approved request to rezone property in July of 1992 at 520 and 521 Heatherstone Circle. Property ID number 610-374-18.000 and 610-374-17.000.
That's second.
All right, motion, Mr. Black, second, Mr. Cox.
This is also.
Need a roll call, Mr.
Aye.
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 All right, motion carries. Item B, ratify mayor's decision to waive construction permit fees for building permit applications during a state of local emergency due to Hurricane Zeta.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Cox, second on Mr. Gill. Any discussion?
Are we gonna put a time frame on it? We discussed.
That's item C. Right.
Or you mean like,
Like 30 days, 60 days?
what, again, I would say that's the next one, this is just the ones that have happened up until today.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, and discussion of, just what Mike said, regarding waiver of permit fees for building permit fees related to Hurricane Zeta repairs.
Harold, what do you think, 60 days?
I'm not sure 60 days is gonna be enough with the
To the first of the year?
Say 90 days a month.
You can go December 31st.
I think 60 is gonna be enough for people that have roof damage.
Let's do that and then extend it if we need to.
So
Okay.
the getting the county doing until December 31st? Yeah, the county's doing it
Okay.
a year, and then with the possibility of an extension, so I think that's a good starting point.
That's fine.
Just let us remind us, Darryl. Come and do.
So he will.
Yeah, a lot of roofs out there.
Yeah.
I make that motion, we waive the permit fees until December 31st.
Second.
All right, motion by Mr. Cox, second by Mr. Blackman. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, to the consent agenda. Anybody have
We
any?
got Lance, we got discussion, but it's Apple.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, new business. Discussion to authorize agreement with Applewhite Landfill and Waste Pro, Mississippi for Hurricane Zeta debris disposal at a rate of $6 per cubic yard.
Is this our tipping fee, so to speak? That's what it is? I thought it was $3.
I thought it was lower too.
I was like, we good for $3.
It was actually more than that last time.
Okay, I just was checking, I just remembered number 3 being thrown around. so-
It was 6 1/4 and 8. And so, there was some negotiation going on with this, and there was some discussion of using another landfill. But if we changed landfills, we wouldn't have been on divided highways, and we would have had to go back and change the big truck fee from $7 to $9.50, so this was a good meeting, yeah.
Absolutely. Was the, just out of curiosity, was the tipping fee less at the other place? But it would have been more by the time we paid the rest of the fees?
Well,
Okay.
yeah, and, yeah, that's
Good
right.
job on negotiating that.
Yeah, exactly, a further trip.
Oh, yeah, those big trucks would have lost another 40 minutes, so we was gonna have to change the $7 cubic yard to $9.50.
Totally good, I'm just glad we were ahead of it this time. I think, we've done a good job getting it in place, and Alan, thank you guys for heading it up and helping out. Just keep rolling, get it all up. I can tell you, Ricky and I were out at 4 a.m. Thursday morning, and they already, Public Works was already down there with the front end loader, cleared the beach to where we could at least drive through it. I mean,
Well, it was my ward too, clearing the street off of Dunson Ave.
Yeah, so it-
1:30 in the morning.
And while we're at it, I know we got Aldermen's forum, but your guys in the water department fixing that water line in the middle of the storm. That was awesome. So
My water and drainage department.
yeah, well, you guys and I would wait.
I'll make a motion that we authorize agreement with Apple White Landfill Waste Pro of Mississippi for Hurricane Zeta debris disposal at a rate of $6 per cubic yard.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Osborne, second, Mr. Gill. Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. All right, now with the consent.
I need to pull K.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other items to pull from the consent?
If not, man, I'd like to make a motion to approve all items on consent except K.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Gill, second, Mr. Osborne. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, K, the only thing I need to do with item K is I need to withdraw the application for the Rossetti Park tree removal at the request of the applicant and approve everything else.
Is that your motion?
Yep.
Okay, motion, Mr. Osborne.
And I also second.
Second, Mr. Cox. Any discussion?
So that, just approval of everything
Everything else is-
except the,
Right.
okay.
All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. All right, to department reports. We have been approached by University of Southern Mississippi. They have a really good, excuse me, a really good opportunity for us to get some interns here into the city. Minnie and I have been working with them. Minnie, you've kind of been going back and forth with them a little bit more. But
Some information, and we had Nicole look at it about the possibility of having unpaid interns here.
So it'll be unpaid internships through the University of Southern Mississippi, predominantly students from the Gulf Park campus in Long Beach. We're still ironing out, the legalities as far as, do we need a motion today? I don't know.
We don't have an agreement.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't have anything yet. The biggest part is, making sure it's legal on the unpaid portion. So there's, a Department of Labor, since we are a for-profit corporation, then, there's a test for whether or not you can pay interns or not. So we're kind of analyzing how we can do that, to make sure that we make sure it's legal for them to be unpaid, and in hopes that, they get, the benefit out of it of learning just as much so us getting help
Right.
here at City Hall.
Well, I like the idea, I think it's great. It'll give these kids some on-the-job training as well as helping us out. And Shay, remember I mentioned to you, if we go through with this and get it worked out, one thing, guys, we could do is bring in some of the construction engineering technology people to help in the building department, help in Public Works with project management, just to get their feet wet and help us out with some of that.
That was gonna be my question. What are the, Mindy, do y'all know the areas of study or the disciplines of these students who would be interns?
It's really anything and everything that we could possibly want. I mean, obviously, it's limited by who's there and who's, who's studying what and who's willing to do what. But basically, after we iron out all the legalities, we would just post a job, like a internship opportunity on their internal, it's called Handshake. It's just like a Blackboard type of thing, and then everybody, all the students will review it and decide if they want to apply. And
Okay.
Yeah, you post the need and they apply, and then you figure out the.
I like it.
Yeah, so we're
Yeah.
I know they have, in Gulf Park, they have a political science department, so we're probably gonna get somebody from my office. We talked to, hopefully they'll have somebody
County.
Doing theater and such. I talked to them about getting somebody at the Mary C.
Somebody from accounting to help you guys out.
So, yeah, I mean, we'll take all the help we can get, and, but we'll keep you updated on it once we get all the stuff ironed out. So, all right, moving forward, docket claims. Anybody have any items for the docket claims?
make a motion to approve the docket of claims.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Blackman, second by Mr. Empey. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Monthly budget report. Is there a motion to accept that?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Empey,
Second.
second by Mr. Blackman. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, Chief McCoy, you want Hurricane Zeta initial damage assessment?
You just talk from right here, you want me to get up?
You probably right there.
So we, immediately after the storm started dying down, we started getting out and really started assessing right then. You know, we noticed, right off, we had numerous power outages. We already knew that by the number of transformers that was blowing in the city. Had a lot of down trees. Then we started noticing, downtown, some roof damages among some of the businesses. A lot of the homes, from what we could tell, received minor roof damage. We did notice some, you know, the forecast was like 8 foot of storm surge, somewhere around there. And at the end of Lover's Lane, we spoke with a gentleman, his porch sits at 9 feet, and it was up to his doorknob. So that put it around 11 and a half, 12 foot of storm surge. Wasn't very many homes in the city that got water in them, just a few that we could see. And what you need to keep in mind is that initial storm assessment is not a detailed assessment, it's an initial quick assessment that we can turn into the county and get some numbers in. You know, since then, we found out that we've got some significant damage throughout our own infrastructure, such as parks. You know, 2 of my 3 stations received some damage to the roofs and things like that. So I'm working with Mindy and,
OJ and the old
yeah,
section.
we had some shingles come off our station 2, and then we had our gutter blow off of station 3, and it damaged the roof some. But you know, I mean, in all honesty, we were very lucky because the storm blew through so fast. It didn't sit here to do damage, but the wind was strong, man. I mean, it was as, it sounds crazy, but I mean, it was as strong as I remember Katrina's winds being. I mean, really.
Any damage at Galen?
Gay Lemon?
Where the ambulance,
Oh,
No,
the old station?
not that I know of. I went by there and looked. I didn't see anything. Katie hasn't reported anything.
While we're
Check
on,
that roof.
while we're on Gay Lemon, Alan, I received a call right before this meeting from the engineers with Singer River Power. And, I don't know everybody from Parks here, but, can you help or get with them tomorrow, or Mayor, get with Parks, see if you guys can help. They've got a snap pole out there.
Yeah,
And they've
how
got
did
to
they
take it
mention
down.
that?
They've got, power company's needs it up down so they can
Okay.
do their repairs. So they've killed the power out there this evening.
Right.
And they need us, they said they were fixing to cut it and the lights were gonna drop and bust. They said, probably wanna get somebody out here to take the lights off before we do this. And I said, absolutely, hold off, stand down, we'll get the thing care of tomorrow.
Look at it and see how high it is.
Yeah, Huffy had mentioned that in an email today.
Yeah, so we need to get those lights off the pole. He said we can cut it down after, or, call them back and they'll come take it down.
Last time we had to get, Bonnie bucket truck to get up that high to do
Yeah,
the work.
maybe check with them.
Those lights probably wouldn't be a loss because it was put up in '86.
Well,
Still,
still.
we put some back, we repaired some of them.
We need to salvage what we can, so. He said the lights looked fine, just the pole snapped, and he didn't wanna drop the pole, and, so I mean, they're just fixing to chainsaw it, and I said, no.
Maybe a little if we reach it with our bucket truck.
Yeah, it may be down enough, so.
If not, maybe Singer River will work with us with their bucket truck if need be.
Maybe, so just call me when you'll get out there and assess it, and, let me know, and I'll
Maybe you need to,
get that back.
our last truck had a hose blow out this morning, so I'm going to get a new hose in the morning to replace it, and it'll be back, so I mean.
And you can't put it on the road with that out, right? Yeah.
What kind of hose is we may be able to make it sharp?
You can't. No, we was going to, but it's a special end on them. It's only, we were lucky in the fact that it's only $100 hose, but, we have to go to Cummins and get it. But I mean, once we get that back on, we can help you.
than likely. We, you know, everybody's been pulling together pretty much, you know, and helping each other. And I just wanted to say too, I normally don't really outstep my bounds too much, but, you know, when everybody was hunkered down, including myself, we got out throughout the night. You know, Alan's guys were down in that hole in chest deep water, I mean, throughout the entire ordeal. And I thought that, I took some pictures of them, you know, because I just could not believe it. I mean, we were like, surely they went back to the shop. Nope, they were still out there the entire time. And I thought that was pretty crazy, you know, and speaks a lot. We never been accused of being the smartest crew. Well,
Facebook was raving about it.
You got the work done though, Alan. Thank
yeah,
you,
I mean,
bud.
it was pretty awesome, pretty impressive to see. I mean, they had the worst possible case scenario handed to them, and the pipe went right through a root system. You know, and it was crazy, but shows their dedication. As far as you know, storm recovery, I think MEMA they are in the county. They started out in the county, and once they complete the county, they'll start coming into the cities. Jackson County Emergency Services is with them, and they're going around. I'm sure we'll get notified when they get into Ocean Springs. As far as supplies and stuff like that they're handing out, we're out of pretty much everything but a few cases of water, and the county has ordered more from the state. They ordered more tarps. We've handed out about 600 tarps. You know, so that's pretty much where we're at.
I did see that MEMA truck here today.
Did you?
Yeah, they were.
You know, now that you say that, we were out at, with the Emmanuel, I think it's Emmanuel Baptist Church right there. We was helping them cover their steeple blew off. And I saw a MEMA truck ride by yesterday. They wasn't supposed to be working yesterday because of the election. They were supposed to send them home.
And they actually came to the office to see if I needed help with flood assessments.
Yeah.
Two guys.
We're not really done with assessments because the Parks is still gonna have some, and Allen still has some sewer lift stations and all. We have some that don't have electricity yet. And so I had called Earl last week and to make sure, we're gonna try to maybe have a meeting Monday to see where we are. You know, Public Works is so busy also, but we need to look at some roofs, and so I'm not sure what Tom can do. Earl told me just make sure we get everything in. It's really important more that we get it all identified.
So we're gonna meet Monday with the department heads, so if y'all see any damage anywhere to New City property, if you could just let us know, we'll add that to the list. And where each department's gonna go up and on their roofs and examine all the buildings, all the equipment, and I've got an adjuster coming out to Fort Maurepas tomorrow morning to look and see if we might have a building insurance claim, and if that's denied, that's just a step in the FEMA process that we have to file a building insurance claim. Then FEMA would step in if it's not covered, or if we don't have enough to meet the $40,000 limit deductible.
I don't know about the pier and all. I haven't heard anything lately. You guys might have been down there. I haven't even been down to see the sidewalk. I don't know how it's doing. I haven't had a chance to get down there, but we'll have to look at all that real close also.
I know the county approved Monday to assist us with the sidewalk.
Okay.
So as soon as we get it cut, if we can get the concrete cut, I'm sure they'll go pull it out. And that way we can start from there, moving forward with replacing.
What about the rest of them, They got,
With cleaning the beach?
well, no, since this storm,
I think everything else looked pretty good besides that one section.
I think you got one, well, I saw one spot today, the walkway looked like it might have been a little undermined.
Oh, it's probably right there, same spot.
Yeah.
I think this is further.
From Washington to the east.
Yeah, that's
It
it. That's
is.
it.
Yeah, okay.
So when they get it pulled out, then we can go back to replacing it.
Does anybody have any idea how long the beach shouldn't have people on there? Because we have a bunch of fire pits, and so we're just gonna send an email and tell them that they probably can't use them this
Till the
weekend.
county gets it cleaned up.
Yeah.
Oh,
You said they were on there today.
The county's been down there every day just about.
They were down there this afternoon.
I'll say probably another 2 weeks at least.
Before you do that, why don't you ride down there, or I'll ride down in the morning and see what it looks like and see how much they got done.
They're
The road.
completely rented this weekend, so we'll have to they'll either move the rentals or we'll have to, refund them.
The
if we
road's
can.
not passable right now, is it?
I don't know if the
Close,
county wants
so.
them down there though.
It's close.
Yeah.
The big trucks was loading off the front piece today.
I don't think the county would say
The
that.
reason we had the road closed is so we could work and keep all the people out from under our
They were between Jackson and Martin at about 3 o'clock.
load.
Alan, you won't have that cleaned up on the weekend, will you? All that debris on
It's
the
gonna be
It's
closed.
gonna be closed.
Be closed.
Be close.
We'll have
Yeah,
to,
but you
let's
don't have to
assess that
push
on
over to the
Friday.
lot.
Yeah.
Make a call tomorrow.
Yeah, we've been pushing it down to the harbor. Most of it.
Yeah, you can maybe open it up to Washington or something like that.
You wouldn't believe it, but people are still asking about rentals down there. We just didn't know what to tell them. I mean, we don't know if the county is saying
We
that
gotta
it's
make it
just
safe, we
closed.
gotta get it cleaned up safe before we let it back out.
I wouldn't think nobody needs to be around it for it until they get all that done.
All right, building department, we got a tree appeal at Rossetti Park.
That's gonna be withdrawn.
That's
Oh, I'm sorry, okay, yeah. All right, general public comments. If anybody would like to address the board for up to 3 minutes, come to the podium now. Seeing nobody? Sorry?
Did we introduce the new engineer, since it's not here tonight? Did you guys know that we have a new young engineer with,
Oh, yeah. James, would you like to introduce your new guy to us?
I'm not sure if everybody's met him.
This is Dick Fountain. He's working with us down at Overspeed, and he's gonna be helping out over here in Ocean Springs. He's worked with NDOT for a couple of years, and gonna try out the private sector for a while.
Glad to have you aboard.
So,
Work at MDOT, we definitely need to talk, because I got a lot of stuff for him. All right, seeing no public comment, we'll go to Alderman's Forum. Mr. Gill.
yeah, man, I'd like to thank all the department heads, police, fire, building, HR, city hall, for the extremely hard work over this, the hurricane days. And, it was pretty tough. It was, and y'all stepped up to the plate. And from what I hear, from what the phone calls I made and the things that I saw around town, you know, and when the mayor told me that y'all really stepped up to the plate, and everybody, the city was really nice to see everybody pull together and did an excellent job. And I think all they all did a good job too. I know a lot of them were out in their ward early that next morning. And so I think it was a good city effort. Yep, okay. And one thing, Alan, if you could scrape that harbor, because I think there'll be a lot of boats down there this weekend. We get cheap to blow it off. All right, thank you.
All right, so I have a couple of things. First thing is, I don't even know what date this was. What date was this first happened?
July 8th.
Okay, on July 8th, Parks was doing some work at the little children's park, and they dumped a load of mulch in the street. And the guy, James Burkett, that lives on the corner of California and Washington, got pictures of our skid steer on his driveway. And his driveway was damaged. And I know there was some discussion that it was damaged before, but we had our tractor on it. And so basically, we need to discuss the best estimate we got was $1,900. And we need to discuss, or I need to get a motion to be able to get this taken care of and get it past this.
That's not something we can do in-house to make it.
That's with our, is that with our concrete contractor?
With our contractor.
Well, we got a price, the first time we got a price through Lucas, and I don't know who that 1,900.
This is from Mike at M&C.
Yeah. They, Parks and Rec's got that.
Right.
The Lucas was like 2,100, I think.
That's the best you can do.
It is what it is.
Did we do it for us to have?
I don't think we could.
I'd say go ahead and pay to get it done, but we already got the hands right now.
It's coming out of Ward 2 Alderman account. Right?
Yeah.
All right, let's fix it.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those where it's
It's a a little bit too big for us. It feels like
Don't we have
sidewalks.
insurance for that?
Only
Thank
God
you,
knows.
John. Thank you, John. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
so
insurance.
the reason is it got kicked around and it just didn't get handled properly, and so now it's 2 months later and the guy's been drug around, and so if we try to send it through the process, he's gonna get drug around again for another month or whatever, and so I think that's why we're trying to just, he's been promised it would be done for quite a while now, but in the future, while we're talking about it, anytime we know of anything, Mindy should be contacted. We should always run it through the service company first. This one just has fell through the cracks, and now it's.
So lesson learned here. Next time y'all do pictures before you get on site.
Yeah.
Talk to that chair.
And show every,
They'll
show
dump
every
them onto the street.
crack in any concrete around and say, this was here. Because I know that's on.
The morning we got that call, they said it was Public Works, I went straight down there, it was not Public Works, it was Parks. I
But
called
just,
Huffy.
I'm just telling you, back yourself up.
I will next time.
Because we don't want this to be a habit.
We should
People
be
are gonna
talking
start finding
about
out,
sound like.
oh, they're just gonna pay it. No, we're gonna start documenting anytime we're close to
I
somebody's
called Huffy
driveway.
that morning,
Yeah,
and told him,
cracks,
hey,
and you
they're on
got
that
them.
driveway, you need to come over here and do something with your crew, they don't work for me, I can't say nothing to them.
Yeah.
Well, either way, it's your, just next time, it should be reported by both you and Stephen, or Huffy, whoever, to Mindy, because it should have
Next time, I will
automatically gone
take
to the
pictures, we
insurance.
was accused of it at the beginning.
Well, I mean, before you start a job, is what I'm saying, and they need to be told the same thing. Before they start a project and they're close to somebody's property, they need to inspect and look around and say, okay, there's cracks here, they're gonna say we did it, better take pictures.
Right.
That way we're not in this position.
Aldermen, mayor, department heads, employees, no one should ever tell anybody that we're gonna pay for something until it runs
Right.
through that. That's for everybody in the room.
All right, I'll make the motion.
All right, so I have a motion that we, pay M&C Concrete Services in the amount of $1,900 to fix the driveway at, what is the address of the company? It's not on here.
I'm saying, man.
Corner of Washington County.
Corner of Washington County.
All right, motion, Mr. Hoffman, second, Mr. Gill. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I just want to tell Darrell, you know, he made a good choice with UC. I mean, I really like those building reports, seeing, just seeing what she's doing and then seeing all the ones she's closed. I mean, and then seeing the report today of all the business owners that we have that are behind on their licenses, and she's already on it, you know, so, yeah. I mean, and I know she has a tough job. I know she catches a lot of grief from people because of it. For a long time, we didn't have somebody full-time. I don't know if we ever had anybody full-time for that, do we?
We did.
We did.
It was kind of a combination of inspector slash
Right,
enforcement.
but, you know, but I think she would be good to learn code enforcement too, you know, building stuff, if she, you know, to fill in for
We're
vacations and
fixing to
stuff.
start teaching her some. And I've actually, as of right now, told her to kind of back off with the storm debris. Can't really do
Well, tell her I said that.
She is a pit bull.
And the last thing is just, I really feel like this whole hurricane that we recently had has been a lot smoother, you know, everybody's really done a good job, and especially with the debris monitors and public works and parks and everybody out there getting all this stuff together, fire department, you know, kids left somebody out, just everybody in general. I mean, everybody was out that morning when Rob and I were out already, you know, so appreciate it.
Same thing, I mean, all the talk around town that I've been hearing is how wonderful all the employees of the city have been in the response to any and everybody with everything. You get some complaints, but they've got to understand, and we're gonna come back around with another round and clean it up. And this will probably be the fastest we've ever cleaned up after a storm. But thanks to all of you.
Well, unfortunately, some folks just aren't gonna be happy.
That's what you always. That's all.
All right, Mr. Gill.
I want second, third, whatever everybody else is saying, thank y'all 100% because it has gone smooth and I've had minimal complaints, just the usual. But, thank y'all 100% for what you're doing and go forward.
be safe out there when you're working. Thank you.
Don't need to keep going, same thing, guys, everybody, thank you all.
Well, same thing, but I want to add the voices. Man, I have had text messages, I've had phone calls, I've had emails, and I haven't had any complaints. I had the one lady said, be sure you tell the public works guy that those guys are some badasses that work in that department. Because apparently they live near there, and the husband kept going out and checking on them. And he said, I can't believe I couldn't believe they stayed. But everybody's been impressed with the response this time around. Everybody's just amazed. I had some people go to the parks that have been cleaned and opened, and everybody commented on the speed of the roads being opened. It's not gone unnoticed by the public, and I've just been bombarded with it. It's nice to get something positive, because usually you get a call for constituent, you pretty much know which way you're going. But appreciate it. I don't have anything.
One other thing, we backtrack. I didn't check, is there anything we need, be brought up on for this weekend? For
Just be there at 3:30 Saturday morning.
It's all good.
Friday is when we're gonna start bringing the trailers in.
I got Big Chief here ready to go.
Okay.
We got everything.
For what, thing we put out tomorrow?
Yeah, I just want to make.
Friday morning. Friday morning.
The lot, the swings the lot, it's good to go for us.
Yeah, I talked to John, they're gonna do, well, it's,
We just approved.
Yeah, we approved.
that we, well, it was supposed, okay. Was that on the consent? Okay, well, I talked to John, it's actually going to be on the, I forgot, there's some high school group that's doing a fundraiser for it, and so they're actually going to be using it, it's not going to be public.
Okay, so we can use
So
it.
wait, it changed from yesterday?
Yeah, yeah,
So we approved something we
Wait.
can't use.
I talked to John yesterday, and it, I'm sorry, I didn't realize this was on the consent. So yes, we, that is going to be unless he got in touch with somebody over the past 24 hours that I'm not familiar with.
It's number D,
Mayor,
so it's
Mayor,
Where is it?
seven D.
there's a problem, because the road, government's closed. So you can't get there unless you go through.
Me and Cynthia talked to him, and he's aware of it all. Cynthia
Okay.
ironed it out with
They know
us.
how to do that.
Yeah.
And there's one other thing, when we, have to clean the, portalets, the Jiffy John people have to go around the barricades to get in there to do it. Apparently, he had some difficulty with one of the officers, telling him he couldn't do that. And he tried to explain to him that he was hired by the city to do that. But we call them when they get to a certain level to come clean them because of the sanitation. Do I need to call the police department to get them escorted or what?
Because it's just.
No, I'm gonna have an escort with them every time they show up.
And I had reached out to PD too about
You
that when
mentioned
it
that to me
happened.
today, you
Mhm.
worried about it, so.
Are we gonna have them in the Pleasant Fallow parking lot, the portalets, or
No,
Swing-
Swingsters.
Swingster? So they
Well-
can get there a lot easier than they can
Yeah,
Pleasant Fallow.
Yeah, but see, the road's still closed, and you have to move the barricades to get around it. And what he didn't wanna do was, he didn't want to get arrested for moving the barricade.
Talking about John?
Yeah.
Yeah, I apologize, I totally looked over this being on here, but yeah, John, it's, I think it's his nephew or something, is going to be, they're gonna use it as a fundraising opportunity for parking.
So this was after the email that he sent saying that the property is no longer being used for the fundraiser.
When was that? I didn't get that email.
Monday, and you're copied on it. And then, that's the reason I drafted this, because he said it was no longer being used for that.
It's been a
That's
crazy
why I'm very
24 hours.
confused. He did not respond, because a lot of times he will
Yeah.
respond and already have it signed.
Yeah, this was, I talked to him at 3:16 yesterday.
Okay, so something changed since then.
Yes, I apologize, I apologize about that.
Well,
But I
we're
mean,
just gonna leave it on there as approved in
Yeah.
case something changes and you can sign it.
That's what I was about to say, it wouldn't matter, we could just.
Yeah, it's
Just
a,
call it tomorrow, we're good.
Yeah, it's.
or email, and so I'm informed.
Yeah.
So,
But Jazzy Johns needs permission to go around the barricade so that they can clean the portalets.
Right, and they have to have that, because we have to have them clean because of sanitation and all this other
Let's go
stuff.
handle that, he said.
yeah,
Alan's got that. I didn't know
I'll
that.
put one of my crew with them with a gator, take them from spot to
And
spot.
also, Mayor, they have to be sprayed twice a day for us to meet the.
Megan's got it.
Yeah, they got all that in.
Yep, yep.
So I just wanted to make sure you didn't get arrested or
So-
anything.
So they're gonna have a fundraiser for parking on that lot, so they're gonna actually have to go through the lumberyard parking
Right.
lot and around to get to that lot.
That's right, yeah.
He understands that, I think.
Yeah, yes, I talked to him yesterday, and Cynthia talked to him, and, we ironed it out.
Yeah.
So they say come in from the backside.
I mean, it's not the most ideal, but it is what it is. and,
So
you know,
we're
again-
not going from Ward across.
Right, right, we're not gonna do, we're not gonna do a intersection right there, which they're gonna go through the Ocean Springs, the lumberyard, yeah.
I mean, they know that's private property.
Mhm, yeah, Cynthia and Jake and all them already got that ironed out with, Greg Ryan.
Chief, we just wanted to make sure that everybody else knew that in here so that we didn't have a problem.
No, I'm good, it's just the last word I got is that we had to put somebody.
Yeah, I talked to Chief Johnston about it, but I didn't pull the trigger on it, but it may have been miscommunication. Did he tell you that's what we were doing?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
No, I mean, it's no big deal, we
Yeah.
handle it either way.
Yeah,
Just
so
make
we'll just
sure.
keep it like it was. All right, we have executive item session, I believe.
I'd like to make a motion to go into closed session, see if we need a second.
All right, motion, Mr. Gill, second, Mr. Osborne, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Yeah, everybody can go.
We're not gonna need anybody back here before we get going.
Sounds good, y'all have a good night.
Y'all too.
I'm really interested in, A, this is why we need a capital improvement plan, because we have a list of everything, but my thing is to sort out what is FEMA gonna pay? Can I help with any of that, but what's left over? And FEMA or Egress is gonna pay for something. Is there a larger project that we need to do at the same time, you know? So, I'm gonna use that opportunity to, this is why we need to get one done, this is why we get one somewhere, so that we already have this and go down the plan and say what I need. We have it all laid out. We already have them, and we already have that. You know, hey, there was damage in the area, now it's.
That's like this, do they get with you?
Yeah, whatever. I mean, ours is the city.
I don't know what.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah, it was the same company that does the construct everything.
They run.
Yeah, I think that actually, I was doing an estimate, you know, for repairs, and they ended up doing something cheaper. Yeah, yeah, you're not, I forget what's that?
I'll have you call you or something.
All about fence or.
Well, that's one of the things that I have to do an
Same
assessment.
company, but I have the information.
Understood, that's what I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all.
Cause I had, I know it was full time.
And there were so many funding sources, but it's been so long that it doesn't really matter. But I can just go back and find out what who the vendor was or the
That's what I got
manufacturer
to do with the
was. No, for Barnwell, that would only be with the building itself, the bandstand, the pavilion. I don't know.
Which I was at, I passed
I
you.
don't know if they walk over
You was
to the one
driving,
on
right?
that stuff, and send you the picture of.
Yeah, I passed you.
Yeah, no, the, paper pass, I don't know if that was right, that's it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that was me.
Look, I've been asking Scott.
I would tell them play structure and accessory. That's have to have the safety material, that's part of the play structure. It's called, there's a whole program, but it's a certain kind of substance that's done for safe falls. And that has to be there for us to have it. So that's not an optional piece. The required pieces would be the fluid and the,
That's what I did that part when I said the guy. I think they had some blowing that come through the window or something.
It's still on, right?
Almost started waiting.
it's the water,
Kevin brought it up, man, I didn't see that.
we didn't try to fix that, it's the recirculation.
There's service.
Yeah.
Waiting.
So that-
I was actually looking at flood damage.
What happened is that we ended up having to have a holding tank in its own circulation so that the water going in would be drained and had to have a recirculation.
Well, it's supposed to go
Okay,
down.
motion made by Mike Giffey, seconded by Bobby Cox, to stay in executive session for potential litigation related to the Friends of the Mary C.
They didn't tell me anybody had to stay, so
Yeah,
I'm.
they told
I
would check it out.
Okay, I think y'all's good to
Yes,
go.
sir, we got done that for the grassy area.
That should be in my information.
I don't know the numbers on the truck, but the fact that it was 80,000, now I just need to get
That's the light, that's the power for the car.
You probably just paid 50,000 a day or something, we might can pay for it.
Actually, that may not be